Hi there, Sandra here. It's a sunny day in London and I wanted to talk about one of the things that keeps a lot of people stuck when they're trying to get control over alcohol, and that is shame. When we are drinking more than we want, we feel a huge sense of shame in admitting it to ourselves, which is why we will look for evidence that it's not that bad. So if you've ever had a post from a friend that says like red wine drinkers live to be 100, you'll notice that that's been posted around a lot. And the reason for that is we're all in, or a lot of us, I certainly was, in collective denial. And so we don't want to acknowledge that alcohol is a problem, because there is this huge sense of shame, as well as the guilt and as well as the fear about what life will be like without alcohol. But shame is something that keeps us from acknowledging it to ourselves and acknowledging it to other people. And if we want to solve a problem, we have to be clear about what the problem is. And then we have to work out what the best way is to solve it. So when I was stuck, what I used to do is I used to make bargains with myself, right? Like I would say to myself, right, I'm never going to get that drunk again. And I never ever intended to get that drunk again. I would never go out and plan to get drunk, but I would always want to get to the point where I was having a good time, but I never really worked out how to do that. And like very often I would get way past that, to the point of oblivion, to the point of blackout, to the point of waking up the next day crying and not remembering what happened. And because of the shame, that's what kept me stuck, right? The shame and the fear. And I want to talk specifically about the shame because it's interesting how when someone tells us that they're struggling with smoking and they've stopped smoking, everyone's like very enthusiastic and they congratulate them. And I can remember in my corporate job, like at the start of the year, people used to come in and they would say that they were going to lose weight. And sometimes they would even bring in a set of scales and there would be a competition in work about who could lose the most weight if there was a few people that wanted to lose weight. And people would recount what they used to have to eat and what they're having now, and it would all be very upbeat and it would be very commendable. You never ever got anybody coming into work saying, you know what, for the last 6 months I've been having a bottle of wine every night. There's like so much shame about that. And so because we're ashamed about it, we don't admit it to anyone. And if we don't admit it to anyone, it stops us from being able to get help. One of the reasons in my program that I created a structure where it's a combination of group and one-to-one is because what I found to be really, really effective at getting rid of the shame is helping people see connecting people to other like-minded people that are also high-achieving professionals that they can relate to. They're not people that have hit rock bottom or lost everything. People reach out to me because they've got a lot to lose, so they don't want to get to rock bottom. And you know, if someone's at rock bottom, there is actually a lot of support that's available, but there's not much support for people that know that it's a problem, but they're not yet at the stage where it's like 24/7. So I've had a lot of clients that have said that they've contacted the doctor and the doctor said, well, you know, if you were drinking X amount, then we could admit you to whatever. But if you're drinking the amount you are, then there's not really much we can do, which is quite shocking. It's understandable, I guess, but at the same time, it's almost like saying it's not big enough a problem to sort out. And so we will often battle with ourselves to say whether or not we're an alcoholic. And the reason we do that battle is because we're desperate not to admit there's a problem. But when you're in a group with other people that you can see that they've got successful lives, right? So on the outside, it looks like everything's going well. These people have got great careers or they've got their own business. They're raising a family. Like life looks pretty good. But this group, people are being honest and they're talking about how much they drink. And when you see somebody that you can relate to that's admitting that they've got a problem, it's incredible how that takes away that sense of shame. Because what we do when we're struggling with alcohol is we tell ourselves it's just us. So we don't say to ourselves, well, there'll be probably loads of people feeling like this. We think there's something wrong with us, right? We think we've got some defective gene, or we're in some way weak, or we're a failure, or we just need to get a grip and there's something faulty in our makeup that's stopping us from controlling this substance. And so when we see other people that look like they're doing great and they're saying that they've got the same problem as us, it helps us realise that it's not our fault. And the first module in my program is called It's Not Your Fault. And I think that once people realize that, it's like one of the light bulb moments. It's like, okay, if there's other people like this, and if it's not just me, then that means that actually maybe there's nothing wrong with me. Maybe it's the substance that's a problem. And if these other people are getting this sorted, then maybe I can get it sorted as well. So if you woke up this morning and you were hungover, and maybe you were at the point where you can't remember the night before, maybe you can't remember getting to bed, maybe you're trying to find your phone, you're worried about who you sent a text message to, you're worried about what you said, or maybe you're trying to work out whether your partner's annoyed at you or not, or you've been at a works night out and you're trying to find out who else was there at the end of the night, how drunk everybody else was. Or maybe for you it's just a constant thing where you have a bottle of wine at home every night, you try and hide it from other people, and you wake up every day and you feel like a real failure and you feel really annoyed at yourself. If that's you, please know this, it's not your fault. Alcohol is a highly addictive drug, and the more that you can understand that it's the substance, it's the drink and not the drinker, that's your first step to getting rid of the shame. If you've got any questions on this, let me know, and have a fabulous day. Thanks.